Hey everyone, it's Liz of Consumed by Books, and I'm here to do a quick rewind video. I almost said TBR. I decided to do a rewind video for this month because you guys seem to like the TBR so much. So let me know what you think of this idea, because if you love it, then I'll keep doing it. If not, then this will probably be the only time. Anyways, I read 7 books in the month of November, so that was decent. I was hoping to get a little bit more read, but Thanksgiving week wound up being really busy and a little stressful for me. And the week after that is one of the busiest in my household every year. So actually I think I did okay considering, but let's talk about what I read. I finished up with A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. This gets a thumbs up with one caveat, and that is that if you do not like sex in books, then you will not like Game of Thrones. It's not something that I typically mind, but there would be times when we would be talking and something would be happening and it would just come into the story for no real reason. It just felt kind of out of context and forced in a few places, so I wasn't such a fan of that. Aside from that though, this is a really good book. It is a little bit confusing because there are so many characters and it's told from somewhere between 7 and 10 different points of view. I'll try and find out exactly where and post that. But overall, I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to reading the second book, probably not until February, just because I've got a lot that I want to read in December and January. But yes, enjoyed this one. The second book of the month, I don't have to show you because I sent it off to Arc Cycling, but that was Time Between Us by Tamara Ireland Stone, and that one gets a big thumbs up. It is a time travel YA romance, and I really enjoyed it. It's a great book to curl up with a latte because the character loves lattes, and she's also a runner. I run, so I connected with that really well. I had one tiny problem with that book, but it wasn't enough to affect my overall enjoyment. I would still highly recommend it for people who enjoyed The Time Traveler's Wife, or just really like time travel stories, or who really want to travel, because the book does talk a little bit about that as well. The next book I finished was Dear Teen Me. This is an anthology where authors write letters to their teen selves. It's edited by Kristen Anderson, I think. Oh, Kristen Anderson, excuse me, and Miranda Keneally. This one gets a big thumbs up. There were definitely some letters that stood out more than others, I will say that, but overall it's a really enjoyable read. Some letters are deeply moving, some are very cathartic, and some are just really funny. So yeah, definitely pick this up if you haven't already. My next read I don't have to show you. Actually, I can't show you my next 3 reads. This one, because it was on my Kindle, I read 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. That one does get a big thumbs down. Basically, the characters are really frustrating. For those of you who don't know, 50 Shades of Grey is Twilight fanfiction. And, you know, Christian Grey is a lot like Edward Cullen. And Anna Steele is a lot like Bella Swan. Now, I think that the fact that Anna Steele is like Bella Swan is extremely problematic, because when you read reviews of Twilight, very few people say, Bella Swan, what a great character! A lot of people agree that she's actually really annoying. And I think that this book, you know, we've been seeing it everywhere, and I think that honestly has to do with people reading it more so than people liking it. And I think that if you honestly think that modeling a character after Bella Swan is a good idea, then you don't know what it is that readers like about the Twilight series. And, you know, it's like, what are you doing writing fan fiction? Because you kind of maybe don't know what's up. Feel free to disagree with me on this one, but I've just never heard anyone say, Bella Swan, yeah, what a great character. So, thumbs down for 50 Shades of Grey. There will be a full rant on that one on the blog, because there were some other issues with it that were just completely ridiculous. Ridiculous. We live in 2012. And it's almost 2013. I'm just gonna say that for starters, and yeah. Okay, well the next book I read was thankfully much better, and that was The Revenge of Darth Paper, which is another Origami Yoda book. That one is by Tom Engelberger. That one I don't have because it was from the library, but it gets a really big thumbs up. It was a really imaginative and tension-filled way to continue the series. I think a lot of readers don't necessarily think of middle grade as being a genre that has a lot of tension, especially with the characters, but this one did a great job of incorporating that without still making it so serious that it was unenjoyable. So again, big thumbs up there. I probably won't review that series on the blog unless I decide to do mini reviews. If you do want to see reviews, let me know and I will write them. My next read I don't have because I bought it and then lent it to someone else, but that is Meant to Be by Lauren Morrill, and that one gets a thumbs up. It was a really cute, really fun read, and I liked the format that it was written in. The main character's voice resonated with me really well because she reminded me a lot of myself in high school. This one is comparable to The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight and Anna and the French Kiss. And while I don't think it's quite up to par to either of those, it's still a highly enjoyable, really fun romantic comedy, and you should definitely read it, so thumbs up to Meant to Be. Next one, I actually have one to show you. Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Lanny Taylor, and this book gets a thumbs up, but with caution, so kind of to the side. I was expecting really, really good things from Daughter of Smoke and Bone because it's gotten a lot of positive reviews. A lot of people say that this book is slow in the beginning, and I have to say I disagree, because for me, what I really like in writing is writing that's very lyrical, very poetic, very rich, and that's what Lanny Taylor's writing is. So I did not have a problem getting into this one. What I did have a problem with, though, was kind of the middle and the end. I actually almost gave up on this one towards the last 50 pages. Because there's a while when you don't really know entirely what's going on. It's not really clear. And then at the end, Lanny Taylor kind of explains it, but she doesn't give enough details. And it really frustrates me when authors do that with first books in the series. I think that when you have a series, yes, there should be continuing plot lines that move on into the next novel, but I also think that you should have enough resolution that the book should be able to stand on its own. And I want A Daughter of Smoke and Bone to be able to stand on its own more than it did. Also, I thought that Akiva was kind of an interesting character, but I just didn't like the fact that he was a love interest. As soon as he showed up, Karu was kind of like, I mean, it wasn't exactly insta-love, but you did immediately see her pointing out, oh my gosh, he's beautiful. And I just expected more than that. There's a lot of angel stories out there that have that romance, and I was kind of expecting that to be a bit more slow building and maybe not as blatant. So overall, I would say I did enjoy this one, but with some problems. I was initially thinking of trying to read Days of Blood and Starlight in December. I may still do that, but I may need a little bit more of a break before I get into it, so we'll see. And this next title is actually a reread. That is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. This one gets a huge thumbs up. I love the Harry Potter series. I tried to reread them before the movies came out. Obviously, this is where I got held up. And yeah, I'd been rereading this for a year, just kind of picking it up off and on. And I finally decided to just sit down and finish it. And of course, I loved it, just like every other time I've read it. So definitely pick up the Harry Potter series if you have not already. And then the last book I read in November was Mistwood by Leah Sipes. This one gets a big thumbs up. I will say that this book is a little bit heavier on the political intrigue than it is on the magic for being a fantasy. So if you love political intrigue, I definitely recommend picking this one up. And I want to also show you the two books that I started in November but didn't finish just because I didn't have the time. They are The Archived by Victoria Schwab. This is about a place where the dead rest on shelves like books. I think that's all I really want to give away so far, because I'm only about 60 pages in myself, but this is excellent so far, and I highly suggest that you read it. I also started Watchmen. This is by Alan Moore. I decided to read this because it won Misty's Stack of Vibe video, and it had been on my TBR forever, so we kind of tried to read it together. I know Misty didn't quite make it all the way through. I made it through 4 chapters myself, so that was okay. And I do like it, I just didn't have time to finish it yet. So that is everything that I read in December. Not December, November. My gosh, I'm sorry, my brain is fried. Anyways, so yeah, it was a decently productive month overall, and I'm hoping December is going to be really productive, as you'll see from my TBR pile. If you've read any of the books that I read this month, or if you want to read them, please leave me a link down in the comments and let me know what you thought. I want to hear about what you guys got read in November and how your Thanksgiving was if you celebrated. So yeah, just let me know in the comments, and happy reading. Bye everyone.